Hey friends, hope the morning's treating you well. Hope you got your coffee. I got mine. I had somebody ask me in my Patreon if I would go into more detail about the story about being pulled off a flight by Sky Marshals. And I thought that's a pretty good story, so I figured I would share it this morning. The story starts, I had to play a festival somewhere in Ireland, and I had to fly from Nashville through Atlanta to Dublin, and then I had to travel a couple hours after that to get to the festival. Now, I always fly in to where I land a day before I have to play the first gig, just to give myself some wiggle room, and this story is one of the reasons why. I show up in Nashville, and I'm checking in, and they give me my boarding passes for Nashville, and I scroll through and there's no boarding pass for Atlanta. So I asked the person at the counter, you know, hey, I need a boarding pass for Atlanta. And they said, oh, that's no problem at all. When you get there, they'll give you the boarding pass. Now, I should have taken that as a really bad warning sign, but that had never happened to me before, so I didn't really know exactly what was about to happen. So I fly to Atlanta, and when I get there, I walk up to the desk and I ask the person, hey, I'm supposed to get a boarding pass, and they tell me, it just so happens that your flight has been overbooked. They sold too many tickets, so you've been bumped from your flight. And I was really, really nice about it. Got a mosquito around me here. I was really nice about it, but I tried to explain. See, I bought the seat over 3 months ago, and I pulled up the email on my phone, and I said, right here, you took the money out of my account. I show the seat that I paid extra to get this seat right here. You've had my money, and I bought this over 3 months ago, and at that time, I actually had a seat. And they said, well, that doesn't mean anything, sir. We bumped you from that seat, and there is none. So this is the point when a lot of people start getting ballistic, and I kind of understand if they do, but I'm not that guy. And my pragmatic side tells me that this person is just, they didn't do it. They're not the person that did it, but they might be the person who can solve it for me, and they're human beings. So I do everything I can to be super nice to them. And I just explained, I said, I'm not going to make a scene, but I need you to know that I'm supposed to play a festival tomorrow in Ireland, and I've been advertised for months, and it's a big deal. I have to be there. This is what I do for a living. When I say I'll be somewhere, it's really important that I get there, and I take it very serious. And a lot of people have stuck their neck out so that I can get there. And she's like, well, I understand, sir. I'm sorry. I'll do everything I can to help you out. But as of now, you know, there's no seat on the flight. So I wait for a while. And I first walked into the airport at probably 9 a.m. in Nashville. So the day starts moving on. I'm in Atlanta, and it's moving on and moving on. The flight that I'm supposed to be on takes off, and it leaves without me. And there's other flights. She's like, I'll try to get you on some of these other flights. And all day long, it just goes on and goes on. Hours go by. I'm starting to get really tired. And I just ask, can you put me in a hotel room, and then maybe tomorrow we could just fly out the first flight then? And she's like, we can't do that. All the hotel rooms are booked up. And I'm thinking, well, maybe you can fly me back to Nashville, and I'll try again tomorrow. I said, no, sir, you're just going to have to wait here. And so I'm waiting. I go up every 20 minutes, half hour. We have the same conversation over and over. I'm being nice, but I'm getting nowhere. And then finally, a woman walks up to me and says, sir, the last flight today is leaving for Dublin, and I got you a seat on it. I'm like, thank you. I really appreciate it. I'm like, all right, man, at least we got this rolling. So I get on the flight. I said, are my bags going to be on there? And they're like, yeah, we'll get your bags on the plane. Everything will be great. So my luggage that I checked in Nashville. So I get on, I'm sitting down in the back of the plane, And I'm just sitting there and we're waiting to take off. And it's going on for a while. We're waiting for quite a while. And I see these sky marshals come onto the front of the plane, and they're kind of looking around and walking back, and people start talking to each other saying, look at that, they, sky marshals, we got cops coming on. And I'm thinking, man, somebody really screwed up. Wow. And they keep walking back. I'm like, wow, who the hell's the dumbass? Who screwed this up, man? Somebody did something really bad. And I'm looking around, and they start getting closer and closer. And I'm thinking, man, I must be sitting by whoever did it. You're kind of looking back and forth. And they come down and they look at me and they say, Mr. Gibbs? I'm like, yeah. I said, you need to come with us. And I said, what did I do? And they said, you need to come with us, sir. We'll talk about it when you get off the plane. And I just kind of was a little bit shocked. And I'm just thinking, man, this is the last flight, to Dublin. And they said, you have to come with us, sir. Please don't make this difficult or something like that. So I get up and I walk off the flight. And they escort me to the little check-in desk there. Back through the tunnel and all that stuff. And the woman who gave me the ticket explains to me someone else had to take that seat. I don't know who. Someone told me behind the scenes, gave me a little hint as to who it might have been. And it doesn't matter, and I'm not going to say it publicly right now. But she thought, since I had been there all day, that I was going to raise one hell of a fit. And so she sent sky marshals onto there thinking that I might have to be drug off the plane, which is pretty damn lame, And I said, are you serious? And she said, it was such a big deal to finally get it. And then when, I had to give that ticket up, blah, blah, blah. So at this point, I'm just like, you got to send me back to Nashville. Let's just try it again tomorrow. And she says, there's no flights back to Nashville, and it's late. I mean, we're like around midnight, and all of the stress going on for a long, long time of wondering if I'm going to make the gig or not, which you can imagine, and just wearing me out. I was really tired. And plus, my luggage is now on that flight going to Dublin, and I'm not on it. They didn't get my luggage off in time. So I'm in Atlanta as my luggage goes to Dublin. But I have my guitar, because I always carry my guitar on. And I carry a direct box on, and I'll carry on like some underwear, and toothbrush and stuff like that, so that I can have that. So I'm sitting there, and I'm starting to realize from what she's telling me, I'm going to have to sleep in the in the airport tonight until this all works out. So I just sit down, and I'm just kind of really, really bummed out. 45 minutes or an hour goes by, and a woman taps me on the shoulder. Says, Mr. Gibbs, there's a flight going to London. It's going to leave in about 10 minutes. I got you a seat on it if you want to be on it. And I said, can you reroute me to Dublin once I get there? She says, yes. And you'll get the information when you land. I said, what about my luggage? I said, we'll work it out, when you get there. I have the ticket for you if you want. And I said, yes, I want that ticket. She hands me the ticket, and then she says, this is a check. We're refunding your entire ticket purchase price. It wasn't a voucher. It was a check. It just so happens when I would fly over to the UK, or to Amsterdam or something like that to play gigs from Nashville or from Indianapolis, I would pay anywhere from $500 to like $1,900. I've paid over $2,000 a couple times, but it's usually in that range. It really fluctuates a lot. I paid, I think, $1,850 something for this flight. And I opened up the check and I looked at it, and they refunded the entire thing. When I get on the plane, they tell me that I'm in first class, and I got on the flight to London. I laid back in first class. This is the only time I have ever flown first class in my life. The only time. I fell asleep, and I woke up in London, And they told me about my flight to Dublin, and I got to Dublin. I ended up making it to the festival, and I played the festival. And I immediately paid to overnight that check back to Nashville and told Amy, cash it as quick as you possibly can. Don't give them a chance to change their mind. And the truth is, this is the truth. If you told me ahead of time that I was going to go through all of that and I could have flown for free in first class, I may have said okay. I may have agreed to do it, maybe. But if you, having not known if I was going to make it and the stress of if I would make it, and going a few days without my luggage, it took a while for my luggage to catch up to me, as it usually does. And, you know, the stress of I have a mortgage. This is what I do for a living. They've advertised me. If I no-show, I get a bad name. You know, people don't want to book me for festivals and things like that because Otis doesn't show up. You don't need that stigma. You want to do everything you can to protect your name. And I take that very seriously. So all I'm trying to say is there's lots of reasons for me to be stressed out about this, and it wore me out mentally, you know. So not knowing, it wasn't worth it, you know, not knowing having to go through all that. Now, if I knew that it was going to be free, then maybe, and I knew that it would turn out all right, maybe I'll do that. Maybe I'll do that every time. I don't know. But I played the festival. My luggage caught up to me sooner or later. I stayed out for another 6 or 7 weeks, had a really successful tour, and got a story out of it, I guess. But if they tell you they can't cut you a check, you know, and they just offer you a voucher for something or whatever, that is not true. They'll cut you a check. And anyway, I'm going to go in and finish drinking my coffee. I hope you guys enjoy the story, and I will see you somewhere down the road. And tell me about your terrible travel experience. I'd love to hear about it. And much love to y'all.